Nordicware is excited to introduce you to Procast Traditions Cookware, a line of American-made cast aluminum cookware with heating properties that are superior to cast iron at half the weight. Our marketing studies have shown that a sizable number of consumers will not purchase cast iron due to its significant weight. We'd like to share with you two demonstrations that illustrate the advantages of aluminum's lighter weight and rapid, even heating properties.
Nordicware is very excited to be announcing its new Procast Traditions cast aluminum cookware line. Many of you are familiar with cast iron cookware, which has been around for a long time, but there is a large portion of the population that is not able to cook with cast iron because of its weight. To demonstrate the sizable weight difference that exists between a cast aluminum pan and a cast iron pan, we're going to build a meal here, much like you would for dinner in your own kitchen. We're going to start out with two empty pans. So we have a cast aluminum pan that's at 3.6 pounds and a cast iron pan that is at 10.8 pounds. Now we've measured out equal portions of all of the ingredients that you see here, from the meat to the vegetables and even the broth that we'll be putting in here. So it's an apples to apples comparison that you're seeing. We have some cuts of beef roast here. So we will add those to the pot, just as you would, to start out braising the meat and searing it in the pan. We will then add celery and some carrots. These ingredients have been carefully measured so that we're putting equal portions into each of the pans. Now, with this, we are already up to 6.8 on the cast aluminum pan and 14.1 pounds on the cast iron pan. So that's already a pretty sizable difference. Then we will add the potatoes to each pan, an onion of equal size, and a clove of garlic. Now we're at 8.9 on the cast aluminum pan and 16.1 pounds on the cast iron. Pretty big difference. We can't forget about broth, because you would always put in some sort of liquid into any sort of roast that you were cooking. So once we add the broth to each of them, and then we have to put the lid on, because of course every good roast needs a lid on it. Now that we have both of the pans loaded full of ingredients, we'll look at the weights again. The cast aluminum loaded with all of the ingredients is 12.8 pounds, whereas our cast iron one is at 22.2 pounds. That's more than a 40% weight increase in cast iron versus cast aluminum, 9.5 pounds more. So you start thinking about cooking. You maybe start on the stove with browning your piece of meat, and then you add all these ingredients and liquids, and then when you have a very full hot pan, you may need to transfer it into or out of your oven. So that starts to become a weight concern with a cast iron pan when you have 22.5 pounds versus just a little bit over 12. There's a pretty sizable difference there. The next demonstration we're going to do is going to illustrate the unique thermal and cooking properties that cast aluminum possesses, and then we'll also do the same with a cast iron pan. So take a look at this. We're going to use an infrared thermometer gun. This gives an instantaneous readout of whatever surface you're pointing it at. So we'll use that, and we'll take readings at different time intervals, such as 30 seconds, a minute, 2 minutes, and so on, to see which pan heats faster and more evenly. We're going to start out using the cast iron pan, and then we'll move on to the cast aluminum pan. Before we start, we'll measure the temperature of the pan. The starting temperature of this pan is 81 degrees. Now we haven't turned on the heat yet. So we're going to light it. We're going to leave the burner on high. We'll take a temperature reading at 15 seconds. 15 seconds, the pan is at 120 degrees, and the sides are at about 89. 30 seconds, the bottom of the pan is at 150 degrees, and the sides are at 98. At 1 minute's time, the bottom of the pan is at 184 degrees, and the sides are at 115. At 1 minute and 30 seconds, the bottom of the pan is at 230 degrees, and the sides are at 155. At 2 minutes, the bottom of the pan is at 277 degrees and the sides are at 161 degrees. We've finished our demonstration with our cast iron pan, so now we're going to move on to the cast aluminum Dutch oven. As we did with the cast iron pan, for the cast aluminum one, we're going to be using the same heating gun. The temperature of this pan is 80 degrees on the bottom before lighting the burner. We're going to turn the burner on high and start the timer. At 15 seconds, the bottom of the pan is at 141 degrees and the sides are at 104. At 30 seconds, the bottom of the pan is at 201 degrees and the sides are at 123. At 1 minute, the bottom of the pan is at 266 degrees and the sides are at 165. At 1 minute and 30 seconds, the bottom of the pan is 305 degrees and up the sides is 206. At 2 minutes, the aluminum pan is 364 degrees and up the sides it's 218.